The baby rhino's squeal split the silence of dawn, high-pitched and playful, echoing over the floodplain. It leapt clumsily into the shallow pool, sending ripples across the water's mirror-smooth surface. Droplets sprayed into the golden air, catching the first light of morning and scattering into tiny sparks that shimmered before falling back. The calf's little horn was no more than a bump on its snout, its ears twitching in awkward rhythm as it splashed, learning what it meant to be alive. Not far behind, her mother stood watchful, still as a boulder but vibrating with quiet strength. She breathed deeply, drawing in the scent of wet earth and crushed reeds, her chest rising and falling like a tide. Her eyes never left her calf, even as she shifted her weight to ease the strain of the night's journey. Her shadow stretched long across the pool, wrapping her baby in its dark embrace as if to say, "I am here. You are safe." The savanna itself seemed to exhale around them. Tall grasses bent in the breeze, painted gold by the climbing sun. A soft hum filled the air, the buzz of insects, the rhythmic croak of frogs, the flutter of birds shaking dew from their wings. Life moved with patience here, with ancient rhythm, as though nothing could break its harmony. At the forest's edge, another family stirred. The gorilla troop moved among the shadows, their dark shapes blending with the trees until they stepped into patches of light. A young male pounded his chest softly, a morning ritual of strength and assurance. Others groomed each other lazily, their thick fingers combing through fur with tenderness that belied their power. Among them was a mother gorilla, her broad shoulders carrying the weight of survival, her arms wrapped around a small infant clinging tightly to her chest. Her eyes, soft brown pools beneath a scar that cut across her right brow, scanned the open plain. She was not part of the rhino's world, nor they hers. Yet in this fragile hour of dawn, their lives lay side by side, woven by the same wilderness. The baby rhino, unaware of eyes upon it, stumbled forward again, kicking up mud. Its small body trembled with joy, as if play itself was an act of defiance against the dangers it could not yet imagine. The mother rhino rumbled low in her chest, the sound vibrating through the ground. It was a warning dressed as comfort. "Do not stray too far." The calf squeaked in reply, the noise high and innocent, then splashed harder, as if testing the patience of its guardian. The herd nearby moved in quiet rhythm, other cows grazing, older calves huddling, their massive bodies swaying like the heartbeat of the land. Together, they looked unshakable, a fortress of flesh and memory. Yet at the fortress's edge, one small calf remained fragile, tender as morning light. Above, the sky was alive with motion. Birds wheeled in wide arcs, their wings catching silver flashes from the sun. Starlings chattered in a noisy chorus, while far higher, an eagle shrieked and drifted on invisible currents. Below the canopy, the air smelled of dust, of grass bruised under hooves, of the faint sweetness of wildflowers trampled in passing. It was a world awake, a painting of calm made real. But calm in the savanna is never without shadow. It began subtly, almost too faint to notice. A ripple of stillness passed across the tall grass near the water. Where wind should have stirred the stalks, they froze. The chatter of starlings dimmed, their chorus thinning into scattered notes. Even the insects seemed to soften, their hum fading like a song caught in the throat. The baby rhino did not hear the change. It dipped its snout into the cool water, blowing bubbles with a happy snort. Each burst sent little rings rolling outward, breaking the pool's reflection of sky and grass. The calf lifted its head again, droplets clinging to its skin, glinting like tiny jewels in the morning light. The mother rhino, however, felt the shift. She raised her head, ears flaring, nostrils wide. Her massive body stiffened, and for a long moment, she did not move. Her eyes scanned the grass, lingering on the still patch that lay too quiet, too patient. She did not charge, not yet, but instinct whispered old truths, carved into her kind over countless generations. Where silence falls, danger waits. Across the plain, the gorilla mother too seemed unsettled. She paused mid-step, her infant pressing its tiny face into her fur. Her scarred brow furrowed as she looked toward the water. She could not see the threat, not fully, but something in the stillness pulled at her, an echo of fear carried across species. The herd continued to graze, unaware. Dust swirled lazily around their legs, their trunks brushing rhythmically against the earth. To them, this was morning as always, safety in numbers, trust in size. Only the mothers seemed to hear what the plain itself whispered. That peace here is never pure, never eternal. The baby rhino squealed again, spraying water into the air with its stubby trunk. Sunlight caught the droplets, scattering them into 1,000 sparks. It was joy made visible, innocence painted across the sky. The mother rhino stepped closer, her shadow stretching to cover the calf's small frame. She lowered her head, brushing her trunk against the baby's back in a gesture both tender and firm. The calf pressed against her leg, leaning into the warmth of her skin. Between them passed a conversation older than words. "Stay near me. The world is wide, and danger wears many faces." From the grass, unseen, another face lay waiting. Coiled tight, massive and silent, the python pressed itself against the earth. Its scales shimmered in mottled shades of green and brown, blending perfectly with root and shadow. Its tongue flicked, tasting the air, measuring each vibration that trembled through the soil. The giant snake had no interest in the towering cows or the fortress herd. But the calf, small, soft, distracted, was the perfect chance that it waited. The wild rewards patience. Back at the water, the mother rhino's low rumble returned, deeper this time, carrying not just comfort, but warning. The calf answered with a squeak, then splashed once more. To the young, danger is invisible until it bites. The camera of imagination lingers here. The calf's play, the mother's watchful stance, the gorilla's wary pause, and the python's stillness. It is a painting balanced on the edge of change, beauty hanging over the abyss of violence. The sun climbed higher. The grasses glowed brighter. Yet in the silence that had replaced the morning's chorus, the savanna seemed to hold its breath, waiting for the storm about to break. The sound comes first, sharp, sudden, like the snap of a branch too heavy with rain. But this is no branch. The grass parts violently, and from the golden light of morning, a body darker than night explodes forward. A python, thick as a tree trunk, launches from its hidden coil, striking with terrifying speed. Before the mother rhino can even turn, its muscular body is wrapped around her calf. The baby's cry pierces the air, shrill and panicked. Dust lifts in a violent cloud as the calf thrashes, legs kicking helplessly, eyes wide with terror. The python tightens, each coil squeezing like an iron band, pulling the calf toward the earth. The ground trembles with the weight of the struggle. The mother rhino roars. Her massive horn swings low, cutting through the dust. She charges, striking at the serpent, her muscles rippling with fury. But the python knows the rhythm of survival. It slithers just beyond reach, its coils never loosening, its head darting like a black arrow through the chaos. Each time the mother's horn plunges, the snake shifts, avoiding death by a breath. Birds burst from the nearby trees in a storm of wings. Antelope in the distance lift their heads, then scatter, sensing danger. The floodplain, moments ago a place of calm, now convulses with violence. The calves' cries begin to weaken. Once sharp and loud, they slip into low, strangled whimpers. Its legs slow their frantic kicking. The python tightens further, each squeeze stealing more breath, more hope. The mother rhino does not stop. She rams the earth, gouging deep scars in the soil, desperate to break the grip. Her eyes are wild, her body trembling with rage and helplessness. She knows her horn could kill, but the serpent has tied her child in knots that no strike can cleanly undo. She risks hitting her calf with every blow. Then, from the treeline, another sound answers the chaos. A chorus of guttural cries, deep, urgent, alive with alarm. The gorillas, they pour out from the shadows of the forest, their black shapes stark against the dust-filled light. The troop gathers at the edge of the grass, hooting, slapping the ground, baring their teeth in warning. Their calls echo across the floodplain, rolling like thunder at the front. The mother gorilla stands tall, her infant clinging tightly to her chest. She pounds her chest, the sound deep and booming, cutting through the cries of the rhino calf. Her eyes lock onto the scene before her, a predator she knows well, the one she has never seen wrapped around a creature so large. Instinct wars within her, fear for her own baby, and something deeper, older, an urge to protect life itself. For a moment, the gorilla freezes, torn between retreat and charge. The python's dark coils glisten in the light, and with each squeeze, the calf's voice fades further. The mother rhino bellows again, her rage cracking the air like thunder, but still she cannot free her child. The world seems to hold its breath. The dust settles in slow motion. The python's muscles ripple, its head lifting, tongue flickering, as if taunting both mother and gorilla. The calf gasps, a tiny shuddering sound that cuts sharper than any scream. Despair begins to creep in, heavy and suffocating. It feels as though the floodplain itself has gone still, watching, waiting for the outcome. And in that silence, the gorilla moves one step forward, then another. Her troop erupts behind her, shouting, screaming, pounding the earth with sticks and fists, as if lending her their courage. The mother gorilla's chest heaves. Her infant presses closer to her fur, eyes wide, silent now. The rhino mother glances up, her eyes meeting the gorilla's for the briefest instant. In that look is something ancient, recognition, a plea, a question only the wild can ask. The python squeezes again. The calf jerks, its body weakening, its life slipping toward shadow. The gorilla lets out a roar, deep and thunderous, shaking the leaves from the nearest trees. She pounds her chest once more, then lumbers forward into the open, into the storm of dust and fear. Her massive arms swing with power, her gaze locked on the serpent. The python shifts, sensing new danger. Its coils tighten reflexively, but its head now turns toward the approaching ape. The moment stretches thin, balanced on the edge of life and death. The floodplain is no longer just earth and grass. It has become an arena, a circle of dust and cries where three mothers collide. Rhino, gorilla, and serpent, each fighting for survival, for instinct, for life. The calf's eyes flutter. The dust swirls. The gorilla steps closer, fists clenched, chest heaving. The breaking point has arrived, and the outcome hangs by a single breath. The baby rhino lies half-buried beneath coils of living muscle, its small ribs struggling under the weight. Its voice is barely a whisper now, but the floodplain hears it. The gorilla hears it. The rhino mother hears nothing else. The serpent, ancient and patient, has hunted like this for centuries. Yet in this moment, something feels different. The jungle itself leans closer, as though witnessing a story too rare, too fragile to repeat. The gorilla halts just beyond striking range, her eyes fixed on the python's head. The troop continues to scream from the forest's edge, their bodies swaying with agitation, their courage feeding hers. For one heartbeat, time stops, and then the gorilla bends her knees, lowers her shoulders, and prepares to do what no gorilla has done before. The floodplain is silent, but for the hiss of the python and the weak cry of the calf. Dust hangs in the air like smoke. It is a moment carved into eternity, when despair collides with courage. And the fate of a baby rhino rests in the hands of a mother who is not its own. The python's coils tighten again, and the calf lets out a thin, broken cry. The mother rhino's horn slashes through the dust, but the serpent holds fast, its ancient muscles built for this single cruel purpose. The air feels thick with despair, the kind that settles on the skin like heat before a storm. Then, like thunder breaking the sky, the gorilla charges, her arms pump with raw strength, her black fur glistening with sweat and dust. She leaps into the fray, her infant clinging tightly to her chest as if part of her very body. With a roar that shakes the air, she hammers her fists down on the python's coils. The ground shudders under the impact. The serpent jerks, caught off guard by this unexpected force. Its head whips toward the gorilla, jaws snapping, but the mother ape does not falter. She grabs a section of its thick body with both hands, her muscles straining, and pulls with every ounce of power she owns. The python hisses, its coils loosening by a fraction. A fraction is all it takes. The rhino mother, seizing the moment, thrusts her horn beneath her calf's side and heaves. Dust explodes as the calf stumbles free, gasping, its small lungs pulling in air like it has never tasted life before. The serpent lashes wildly, but now it faces not one mother, but two. The air fills with chaos, snorts, screams, roars, the hiss of scales against earth. The gorilla beats the python again, each strike a drumbeat of defiance. The rhino mother charges, her horn grazing the serpent's tail, forcing it backward. Together, they drive the predator into retreat, instinct and fury joined in a storm of protection. For a heartbeat, it seems the python might fight on. Its head rises high, tongue flickering, eyes cold and unblinking. The gorilla beats her chest, her bellow echoing across the savanna, daring it to strike again. The rhino stamps her feet, her horn lowered, her calf pressed against her flank. The serpent hesitates. Then, with the slow, coiling grace of shadow returning to night, it slides backward into the grass. Its scales ripple like water until the last glimpse vanishes beneath the swaying reeds. The dust lingers, trembling in the sunlight. As if reluctant to believe the danger has passed, silence follows. A heavy silence, broken only by the calf's ragged breathing. The baby rhino collapses against its mother, trembling. Its small body quivers with exhaustion, but its chest rises and falls, alive. The mother lowers her head, pressing her horn gently to the calf's side. For the first time since the attack began, her eyes soften. She breathes deep, her sides heaving, her body lowering to shield her young in shadow. A few paces away, the gorilla stands still. Her infant clings to her fur, wide-eyed but safe. Dust streaks the mother's arms, and the scent of snakes still lingers sharp in the air. Slowly, she retreats from the rhino, step by step, until she stands at the edge of the floodplain. Her troop gathers around her, touching her arms, pulling her close, as if to remind her she belongs to them. But for one final moment, she turns. Her eyes meet the rhino mother's across the field of torn grass and trampled earth. No sound passes between them, no gesture, only a look, deep, knowing, carved from something older than language. In it lies recognition. Two mothers, bound by the same unbreakable instinct, each risking everything for a child. The calf lifts its head, blinking through the dust, and presses tighter against its mother's side. The gorilla shifts her infant in her arms, cradling it with a tenderness that mirrors the rhino's shield. The storm of violence has passed, but its echo lingers in the quiet gestures of survival. Slowly, the world begins to breathe again. Birds return to the trees, their cries tentative but steady. Insects buzz over the grass, carrying on as if nothing has happened. The troop of gorillas melts back into the forest shadow, the mother leading them with her baby held close. The rhino and her calf remain by the pool, the water now muddied with dust, but alive with the reflection of a rising sun. The floodplain has changed. For those who witnessed, the memory will never fade. It was a battle not just of strength, but of instinct, sacrifice, and something rare, connection. The calf, still shaking, presses its head against its mother's leg, eyes half closed with exhaustion. She lowers her body beside it, curling protectively, her horn resting gently across the earth. Her breathing steadies, slow and strong, a rhythm her child can match. At the forest's edge, the gorilla vanishes, her black fur swallowed by green. Yet the image remains, a mother of one species saving the child of another, a moment the land itself will remember. The sun climbs higher, spilling golden light across the savanna. The dust glows in the air, soft and dreamlike, drifting above the marks of struggle carved deep into the soil. Tracks of hooves, prints of fists, the long scar of the serpent's retreat, all telling the story of a morning when silence shattered and survival was rewritten. The baby rhino closes its eyes, safe against its mother. The gorilla cradles her infant deep in the forest's arms, and the savanna, vast and endless, holds them both in its silence. Because in the wild, strength alone is not enough. Survival belongs to those who protect, who sacrifice, who dare to stand against fear. On this morning, two mothers taught the land a truth older than time. Life is fragile, but courage shared makes it strong. The floodplain glitters under the rising sun, as if the earth itself has chosen to remember. In the story of a baby rhino, a serpent, and a gorilla will live in the silence between heartbeats, where the wild keeps its secrets.